So first of all, thank you all for coming. Thank you to our wonderful host here at Lunatech. We are at the 22nd/23rd floor. If you haven't seen it already, at the 23rd floor, there is a Star Wars museum. Please don't steal my Millennium Falcon, otherwise I don't get home. So yeah, welcome again, the on-site, the online audience. I hope we can keep you guys online entertained today. We'll do our best. So since we already are late, let me get started. So again, I want to, first of all, thank you all. I want to thank our members. We have a fantastic lineup of members. I want to welcome the new ones. We have a few new supporting members that just joined very recently. We have Hyundai Mobis, Kimovia, Open Tier, Association 1010. So thanks to the new members. And yeah, so I just want to point out who we are. I mean, most of you know us already, but it's always good to refresh. And I would like to welcome our new marketing manager, Amin. Amin is still sleeping, but he will wake up at some point. And when he wakes up, you all know him already, so that's great. And yeah, Amin is located in Canada, so he could not make it here, but we are very excited to have him on board on the team. Amin brings with him a lot of experience, particularly in IoT and ThreadX, which is fantastic for us since we kind of have continuity with all our programs. So super quickly, since we already are late, this is our agenda. So bear with me, it's a very dense one, but I wanted to give you all a floor as much as possible, basically to present what you've been up to in the last quarter. Since this is the first community day of the year, and we haven't seen each other in a while. So we are gonna have a coffee break at 11, basically, and then a lunch break 1 hour long at 1. So for the online audience, you can also get a coffee, you can also get lunch. We'll try to be as on time as possible. So we will try this for you online people and see if it works. The first day runs hybrid, and the online audience, please write your questions. We'll do our best to address them all. We'll continuously check the chat, so please write. And yeah, so the talks have a slot of half an hour, except the last talks at the very end where we need to speed up a little bit. And basically, second coffee break in the afternoon, and then I'm going to wrap up the event around 6, depending how tired I am. It will take 15 minutes or half an hour. So, and afterwards, we're going to have drinks together. Tomorrow is going to be on-site only, which means because tomorrow the idea is really to get a hands-on experience. So we are going to meet back here again, and we're going to have a number of 4 hands-on sessions. Feel free to join the session. Feel free to have parallel session with people that you want to work on that are on site. It is really up to you. And I think, yeah, just want to maybe point your attention on what are the highlights and what is the theme generally of this community day. We have a very strong track around safety and processes. So there's going to be a trustable software framework. The S-Core methodology is going to be introduced. We're going to talk about our own safety process, which is the Eclipse functional safety process, and ThreadX. We'll take our first step in the fantastic world of AI, because everyone needs to do AI today, and we want to be on board. And then we're going to talk about our framework of offering really a comprehensive platform, starting from the hardware specifications all the way to an actual hardware implementation of the specification, which is given by the Open Hardware Foundation, ThreadX, and then finally to our middleware platform. Last but not least, new projects and major project update. So yeah, and this is my last slide for now. And I'd like to welcome Nicolas and Willem on the floor. They are going to give us an update about a very much anticipated project. So first of all, thanks for
Thank you.
thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us here.
All right. Big applause to Sara. Let's wait for the presentation. Yes, good morning, everyone. Welcome here at Lunatech. Like Sara said, we are here on the 22nd floor. It's a bit of a gray day today, but hopefully the views should be better later today. Before we get started and before I introduce my other speaker, I first have a small video to help the English and French or German speakers here, and you'll see why.
Hello, my name is Peter Hilton.
Let me try again. Yeah?
Hello, my name is Peter Hilton. As the only native English speaker on the play team, I would like to introduce this session with a warning. You may have difficulty understanding the speakers. That's why, to help you, we've prepared a crash course in French pronunciation. Let's practice. The LQ Cloud Platform database layer is simpler than Hibernate and EGB. Easy, right? Just follow the instructions on Nicolas' next slide and you'll be fine. Good luck.
Right. Thank you, Peter.
So now that you have all the ingredients to understand me, let's practice. The, Hibernate, Cloud, Heroku, database, EGB. We can now start the presentation.
Nice.
So, about me, I'm Nicolas Leroux. Obviously, you understand that I'm coming from this great country called France, where we don't really understand how to pronounce English. But now you can get me. So, and that's Willem with
Principal at Lunatech. That's my boss, Nicolas.
and we both open source contributors, so we contribute mainly into the Java ecosystem, JVM ecosystem, a lot of Scala, but who knows Scala here? Not a lot of people. Who knows Rust? Yeah, but way more people. Which is strange because Scala was way before Rust, and basically, Rust, yes. You didn't follow the crash course, obviously. Pay attention. Okay, so basically this presentation is just an introduction to Lunatech, but we want to talk about open source because our company is try to get the principle of open source to run the company. So we thought it will be a good moment to what best to have Eclipse SDV, which is mainly open source, to remind of people of a few principles. So basically, we chose, so there is way more values of open source, but we chose a bit some of them. So it's all about innovation, accessibility, because an open source project who is not accessible, you will not have contributors. That's what people keep forgetting in open source. Collaboration, obviously, it's why we're all here to collaborate. Even if we like the French are really good to collaborate with the German, remember. Transparency as well. Open source is all about being transparent. Meritocracy, so we'll define that a bit more, what it is. So that's a bit opposed to conventional companies, especially the large one, where it's not about meritocracy, but it's more about leaking some, making some services to the big boss to get the promotion. Meritocracy is not about that. And efficiency, that's probably the most important because open source people basically are highly efficient because they don't want to spend time in meetings deciding something, they just decide or commit something, etc. So innovation, what it is practical implementation of ideas. And basically the big idea about innovation is take the work of some other people and extend on it to create something even better. It's also like try something and make it available to others to test your ideas, etc. So that you can see that open source is all about that. Huh? We don't, it's no more that we re-implement the basic level of, I don't know, libraries. We usually use all open source libraries, for example, vectors, etc. before, software developers were actually, especially in C, building software and re-implementing most of the things. How many companies did their own frameworks? That was really in the year 2000, I think 2010 till 2010. Every company was making their own web framework, for example, was much better than the competition. And in fact, it was not much better till open source really started to deliver, hey, look, you can reuse that, adapt it, and transform it, and contribute to it. So I will try to go fast because actually we're late. Accessibility is really, really an important one, and a lot of people forgot that accessibility is key to everything. If you have a project, open source is fantastic, but no one can contribute, no one knows what it's about, it will not survive, and it's true for any project, in fact. When you have a project and you're building a car, for example, you still need to have new people coming in, it should be accessible, otherwise people take a lot of time to contribute and to the project, and that's really not good. So that's one of the really important part of an open source project that we try to also take into account at Lunatech. Collaboration, so we all know what it is. That's basically like having people working toward a common vision. And that's why it's really important to state the vision, the goals. Because if you don't agree on the vision, or two different visions, you cannot really collaborate effectively. You're just going to diverge at some point. Next one, I think. Transparency. So that's really something that is really important and that you didn't have in the world of automotive for a long time. That's why suddenly the cars were emitting less pollution than before, and that's why they invented ASPICE to basically be transparent. It's a big process to be transparent. Open source takes that further because you just publish anything. So basically you can trace everything, but ASPICE is all about that. It's basically making sure your decision and how you take your decision are transparent. So in the automotive, but open source takes that from the ground. That's really important for any company also to adapt that, because most of the employees don't want to, they want to understand why they're doing something. And for that, you need to be transparent. Meritocracy, so that's a difficult one. The idea is like basically the people that contribute the most and are the ones that can be pushed up. You all know that at one point everyone reached the top of their capacities. Meritocracy is trying to say, okay, can you go further? And based on that, people can go up. So it's basically a system where it's not because you're wealthy or you're upper class or because you study at these special universities that you automatically go up. Is because you contribute the most and you work really hard and you try to be an expert in some things that you go up. Yeah, efficiency. So that's a good one because most of big companies are actually not efficient. They spend their time in meetings to decide something that actually at the end they don't decide anything. How many of you do meetings where there is no agenda? I suppose that there is a lot of people like that. How many of you do meetings where there is actually no output and you say, oh, let's see that next time? A lot of people, yes. Exactly. So that's really, really important. And open source actually allows that from the scratch. Why? Because most of the people working on open source are actually working because they are passionate about it and they don't want to waste time because that's their Sunday, their evening, etc. So it's something to take into account. There is only a few people in the world that work on open source and are paid to do open source, which is another problem. But and these people actually can make a lot of meetings, even if the idea is actually that you basically less amount of time, less amount of output to achieve the highest throughput, basically. So it's one of the. So that's really important. So basically, what is the open source? It's all about organizing chaos. Because you can see, an SDV Eclipse Foundation is a good example, where there is 10,000 projects, and you're like, okay, what is that, etc. And Sara is doing her best to organize the chaos. And that's not easy. So we need a benevolent dictator to lead that. That's Sara. This guy is as Dark Vador. Yes. But as Eclipse Foundation, that's what we try to do in Lunatech. You guess that in Lunatech, I'm the benevolent dictator. We try to organize a process to be transparent and to stay super simple. which company don't do, because the more the process, the more complexities, the best it is for everyone, because they have the impression to work even more. In fact, in open source, as we want to work the most efficient and the less possible, we try to document everything and to make it accessible, again, and simple and transparent. You also have this notion of flag hierarchy, which means meritocracy, again, where everyone who contributes can become a core contributor and after, like, manage his own part of the open source project. That's really important. It doesn't really work like that in companies. So basically, and it doesn't mean that everyone does any whatever he wants. Usually, it's highly structured. Open source projects are way more structured sometimes than in company, and you have explicit rules defined from the start to basically be highly compliant and to have really usually tends to have higher norms because everything is transparent, everything is in the open. So the idea of open source and within a company like Lunatech is to, instead of having top-bottom order, you do management. We prefer to react to events. So basically, the people, everyone can contribute and react to, there is this happening. Someone say, oh, but I will take care of this. It's like an open source project. I will take care of this, and then you can see in transparency if something happened or not. And basically encourage the people and everyone to contribute. But again, organizing everything, because you don't want 6 people to do the same thing, etc. An open source project like that. So it's, you have an idea, build it, create a community around it. It's exactly what we're here for today. And it's how a lot of companies can work like that, actually, but not a lot work like that. And yeah, that's really important. And we have that in Eclipse, is organizing chaos. So most of open source have a sort of governance, a paper who define how to work all together, the vision, the philosophy behind it, and everything, again, is in the open, and usually it's a wiki where everyone can contribute because you have a revision of control, etc., and participate. So you guess it, Lunatech, we try to work like that. So we don't say what we're doing at Lunatech, but it doesn't matter. We'll see later. We have after 30 minutes of corporate presentation to get people back into the corporate world. Don't worry. Of course, in French. So what question is that? So we have all information about the wikis, same thing as open source. Really important vision and goals are stated. A lot of companies have a vision but change after and they don't update, so the employees are lost and like, yeah, I thought we are doing that, but in fact we don't do that. We really encourage proactive mentalities. That's the same as open source. There is no manager in open source telling you you should do that, and by tomorrow. That's actually the trauma of Sara, because she's still waiting for some project. But she's not a really strong leader, that's all. She needs to be like more. Anyway, watch more Star Wars and beat people up. But of course, to have people working, you need to provide the right tool. Most of open source projects really provide accessibility, again, the tools to help them, to direct them, also who do eye contact, etc. It's all really stated. So it's also to encourage responsibility and ownership, really important. A lot of companies are like, oh, it's not my problem, that's Department Z. We'll see in 6 months. Yes, so it's what we try to also change. And it means that it's hard, try to involve the ones that want to be involved. But a lot of people, believe me or not, when they do their work, they're passionate, they really want to be involved. So that's also, and we try to have the tool for that. And that's my slide or your slide? I don't remember.
Still yours.
So yeah, all that to say, I had a slide about open source and communists, but it's too much for you today. So Lunatech is also a company, so we basically need to make money because people, I don't know why software engineers don't want to have rice and water only, which will be fine, but anyway. So we try to adapt open source principles that I explore and that any open source project have in our company to really focus on efficiency and proactive individuals. And you can see that we work for Disneyland Paris, therefore I put that. And that's I think that's
Yeah.
now the boring part. So that's Willem who is doing it.
So that's what I'm here
Commercial
for.
part.
So thank you, Nicolas. So now we have a bit of an understanding of how Lunatech thinks about open source. And then you're wondering, what the hell does Lunatech even do? And how do we do open source? And what do we do with open source at Lunatech? We're a bunch of passionate people, basically geeks. You can see the computer museum upstairs as well, with a lot of old computers from before even I was born. So I have no clue how they work either. And we always try to keep ahead of the technology and try to use the latest and greatest technologies to help companies forward. How it all started? Well, it just started when I turned 1, so I have no recollection how that worked either back in the day. Nicolas was also not even there. He joined as an intern later and somehow took over the company.
I watched too many Star Wars.
So that's what happens then in your company. We do custom solutions for customers, big customers, small customers, and mainly nowadays on JVM languages, so Scala, Java, Kotlin. But we're not limited or tied to those solutions. For those projects, we try to work closely with the client, so not just do this project just from here with this office and then throw it over the fence and say good luck with your software. No, we really try to be embedded in that organization and work with them together so that they also can get rid of us again in the end. As Nicolas explained earlier as well, reactivity is key, so we try to have low overhead. We only have a handful of people that are actually not coders here. Nicolas himself is an engineer as well. But we still have to organize the chaos somewhat, and if you want to work for certain car manufacturers in Germany, you still have to have all the certification to actually be able to work there, because otherwise you can't even get a contract. So yeah, a lot of technical expertise. We also have to adhere to the processes and the technical standards that are out there as well. Contributing to open source. So we don't only build our company around open source principles, but we also contribute back. Back in the days, we did Debian packages, Debian distributions, hosted them as well, those packages, that kind of stuff. That was from before I even probably installed Debian myself on a computer. Then we did a lot of open source with JBoss, for example, which is now Red Hat, which is now IBM again. And we're still involved in a lot of those kind of projects based on JVM, where we do some open source contributions as well. Next to that, we were a big partner of the Scala Center as well for the Scala community. We helped them as well. Now we're part of the Eclipse Foundation with the Eclipse ORC, the Eclipse SDV, and we're also part of the European Open Source Consortium as well. So as you can see, we not only do live around open source, but we actually do it as well. And
that's it.
That's it, just in time.
Yeah, and we're happy to look forward to share ideas with you today. And welcome again, and let's have a great day together.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.